Does your partner snore? It's a problem that can be irritating. In some cases, it can interfere with your relationship, and if it's really bad, it can even be deadly. So is it snoring, just snoring, or is it sleep apnea, which is a more serious issue? If it's diagnosed as sleep apnea, a CPAP machine is usually prescribed, and it is considered the gold standard of treatment. But what if that doesn't work for you, or you just can't wear it?
Yeah, that's right. Dr. Muthan Kandula is a board-certified ear, nose, and throat physician and surgeon, and he's here with more on this common condition and what we can do about it, because it can be very deadly,
yeah,
right?
It can be. It shouldn't be, but it can be.
Yeah, it can be. So a lot of people, know that they know someone who snores, and a lot of people snore. How many people snore in America, and how many of those have sleep apnea?
Almost half of Americans snore regularly, so more than 4 times a week. And it gets tricky because if you're snoring, you don't necessarily know about it. You hear about it from others. If you live alone or don't have somebody around you, it's not necessarily easy to pin down. But it's very, very, very common, snoring by itself. And then about 10% of the population, 5 to 10% of the population actually has sleep apnea. So snoring is way more common than sleep apnea. Pretty much everybody who has sleep apnea snores. Not everybody who snores has sleep apnea, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not always a causal thing, the snore.
Well, it's exactly. I mean, it doesn't. It's a spectrum. So snores. If somebody snores, everything's vibrating in the back of the throat. If somebody has sleep apnea, everything's shutting down the back of the throat. That's where you vibrate, and then you eventually can lead to stopping breathing. But many folks are just sort of in that lower end of the spectrum. It's still annoying, and it actually still can have health impacts even if somebody's just snoring without sleep apnea.
Yeah. It's interesting to note sleep apnea. We could easily assume is a sleep problem. That's not necessarily the case,
I think
right?
unfortunately there's been a lot of good information, a lot of misinformation. A lot of folks hear sleep apnea and you get hung up on the sleep part. The apnea part just means stopping breathing. During the day, you're not going to stop breathing because you're living your life. When you're asleep, your brain's sort of checked out, and then you're relying on your body to move air through your throat. What happens when somebody has sleep apnea? It's the throat that's shutting down. So it's very much, concept-wise, people get kind of a little spooked out or confused. What's happening? It's your throat. Your throat's shutting down. When somebody goes from standing up to laying down, your throat, everything kind of collapses back there. Your nose also gets congested. So those things combine to make somebody who feels like, maybe I'm doing okay during the day. At night, you're out of it, and your nose gets a little stuffy, your mouth drops open, your tongue falls backwards. It's a cycle. But again, yes, it's about, it happens when you're sleeping at night, but it's happening at the very top of your airway.
And so the problem then is what? That you're not getting air, or could it affect your heart?
You're not getting air because the back of your throat is shutting down. And then it affects your heart. Just if I came in and I strangle you, some people do this hundreds of times every hour. So if I came in every night and I strangled you even a few times, you're not going to like it. But if you do that regularly, you can kind of get used to it. Your heart and your lungs don't get used to it. And so what ends up happening, what kills somebody from sleep apnea, isn't so much that you just forget to breathe. It's that your heart and your lungs get picked on day in, day out, night in, night out. And after a while, they kind of give up.
They can't withstand the abuse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you guys do at Advent that's different in diagnosing it? Because a lot of people are just afraid to go through a sleep test or a test in general.
Well, I think part of it is just sort of taking down the barriers towards figuring it out. And really, it's starting from that very, very simple concept. We're dealing with, it's an ENT issue. It's a nose and throat issue. That's where it's happening. And so that's what we were about. That's where we come from. So we're going to look at you. We're going to hear, well, first we're going to listen to you. Then we're going to look at you. We're going to see what's going on, why, what might be going on. And then sleep studies are easy nowadays. They're in your home. It's no big deal. If it seems appropriate to do a sleep study, well, let's do it. Let's get that information. Once we have that piece of information, we already know what you look like. We already kind of have we pretty much have a good idea what that sleep study is likely to show us. Once we have that piece of information, then we can lock in on a treatment. And there are many different treatment options out there. CPAP is one. So CPAP is a machine that you can wear when you're sleeping at night. It's just pushing air in the back of your throat. It's holding that space open. So CPAP can work. Unfortunately, it usually doesn't work. So most people who get sort of shoved the CPAP machine without proper explanation end up shoving it back because it doesn't work. Most people who have sleep apnea and most people who snore have nose issues that they don't know about. So it's kind of trying to think of a good analogy, but if you have your air conditioner in your car going and you close all your vents, you're going to say air conditioning's not working. And so CPAP's the air conditioner. Well, what if you open the vents up and you have the same air conditioner, maybe the air conditioner is not the problem. And so really that's part of what we do too. Is a lot of times what we end up doing is fixing noses so CPAP can work, and oral appliances like a retainer that you're going to sleep in at night. And when you're sleeping at night, that's very effective for a lot of folks. There are procedures in the back of the throat we can do. So any option is helped by having a nose that's working. Every option is hurt by having a nose that's not working. And again, a lot of folks don't know that their nose is not working until we figure it out.
Well, and those anatomical issues are very often things that can be corrected in office with just a little bit of anesthetic, and then you have a permanent fix, which is really nice. And I think that approach to it echoes exactly what you do at Advent. So it's a good thing to get it checked out. Sleep studies have become so much easier. Do you know someone in your life who's snoring? Do you have problems with snoring? You can contact Advent. They have 2 locations, one on North Mayfair Road in Wauwatosa. The other is on North Port Washington Road in Mequon. You can call them now. The phone number is 414-771-6780, or you can go to advent.md. Great to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.